Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. When I went up to my local game store earlier today, I picked up Mage Knight the Ultimate Edition by WizKids. So we're going to crack this open and see what's in the box. A little bit of history with Mage Knight. It's a game I've been tap dancing around pretty much for the last, I'd say, year or two. That I've been thinking about getting off and on, but I've never pulled the trigger on it. Then I started devouring audiobooks on Audible whole, and one of the series I devoured, I wanted to get a game that was more like it, and this is one of the recommendations that came up. Plus, it's supposed to be a good hit in the engine for the stuff I like, so we're going to give this a look at the channel at some point. Plus, it's got all of the expansions in it anyway, so that'll also save me the trouble of having to track down the expansions later. So let's see what we've got in here. An ultimate game of epic exploration and combat. Includes all 7 heroes, all 26 scenarios, and 5 new cards, with revised figures and paint schemes, containing the Mage Knight base game, Lost Legion, Shades of Tesla, and the Krang expansion, plus 5 brand new cards. Designed by one of the world's leading game designers, Vlada Kavatal, the critically acclaimed Mage Knight board game now appears in this Ultimate Edition, where current or new fans can find all of the previously released content, plus some new and exciting components all in one place. The Ultimate Edition not only combines the elements of RPGs, deck building, and traditional games, while capturing the rich history of the Mage Knight universe, but also includes the base Mage Knight board game and all 3 expansions, the Lost Legion, Krang, and Shades of Tesla. It also features comprehensive integrated rules, 5 all-new cards, and alternate paint jobs on the miniatures. This is the Ultimate Edition fans have waited for. And we're going to use, I've got a couple of points up here that I can use to get in the box. So of course the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to tear the shrink. 1 to 5 players, 1 to 4 hours, as you can probably see there. Come on, there we go. Okay. There's the shrink wrap off. We'll get this turned over, and then we'll take a look and see what's all in here. All right, we have got actually, we've got a few different books in here. Let's see how thick these are. I may make an exception to my usual let's thumb through it. Mage Knight Ultimate Edition Rulebook, expansion rulebooks, game walkthrough, Lost Legion enemy tokens, base game enemy tokens and ruin tokens, new dual-colored action cards, and I think I will make an exception. I'm not going to thumb through the rulebook in here. What else do we have in here? Looks like Mage Knight the board game. Looks like we've got a catalog. So we've got the Clash of Cultures Monumental Edition. We've got quite a few games that are being advertised in here. Okay, that looks like that's my receipt for my GaryCon events. I was wondering what I just felt my watch buzz, so I was wondering what that was. I don't think we need this plastic anymore. We've got a whole mess of punch board in here, which I'm not going to start punching until I'm ready for it. This is going to take a pretty big maintenance night, I think. We've got the minis. We'll pull this part of the insert out. We've got various stacks of cards. We've got 4 packs of cards here. We've got more cards here, none of which I'm going to tear out. I'm not going to tear any of these out of shrink until I'm ready to deal with them. Silica gel, which Num Num can go toodaloo. I could probably stack all of these here for the time being. just to get them roughly organized. We do have some smaller dice, and I hate the dice in this size. Plastic baggies. And I'm not sure what these are, but these are probably going to get sorted by color. I'm assuming there's a color sort on all of that. So I'm going to pull the plastic baggies out, since I doubt I'll be using them when we're all done. Looks like these tiles are, I was going to say, a similar shape to Zaya, but they're really not. And Daniel Silverthorne telling me, if the cards are sleeved, will they fit back in the slots? That's actually a good question, and I'm very nervous about that because I do want to sleeve this game if I can. Let me see if I can find out what size they are. I should be able to find this on sleeveyourgames.com. So bear with me while I look this up. I've got to see if I'm going to have... That's the one thing I'm nervous about, is that they're not going to fit. And of course, there's Mage Knight. Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. Let's see, looks like I need poker size cards? Actually, yeah, they look about right for poker size. So hold on while I go get a pack of sleeves. I will be right back. Good thing I've got a whole ton of sleeves in stock, because I've got a lot of sleeving that I was going to want to do. So let's see what we can do about this. I've got the knife right here. I've also got one more product unboxing that I'm going to get to. Then I'm going to take a little break for dinner and get set up for the next block in my 2001 Payoff Pitch baseball season replay. So stay tuned to the channel for that. I'm going to go get one more, I should have one more bag in here so I can bag these cards up until I'm ready to actually deal with them. I think this bag will work for these. Yep, okay. So let's go ahead and sleeve one of these cards. Let me see if I can zoom in just a touch here on the box. How's that coming through, Daniel? Are you able to see the boxes? I'm kind of zoomed in on it. I'm actually kind of surprised. I didn't think they'd be poker size initially, but they fit just fine. I'm going to move my hand back out of the way so we make sure if you can see roughly what I've got going on here or not before I stick this card in there. From the looks of it, just from okay, you can see it. Just from what I'm looking at, it looks like there's a little bit of play when they're unsleeved and wrapped. So in theory, they should fit in here, and actually, look at that. These actually do fit, but now for the next question of... So now I'm going to stick the rest of the stack in here. I might actually not even need the bag. Actually, that's giving me a little bit of pause. That's giving me a little bit of pause, because by the time it's fine. It's fine when I get the single card in here. There's plenty of room in here from the looks of it. Actually, let me move it up here. But once I get the rest of the stack in there, it's looking like it's a little bit tight, and I think it's tight on the... I think it's tight this way. It seems like there's enough play in this direction that sleeving the cards won't be a problem. I think the problem is going to come in when when the cards expand back, when I try to stack them back in this way. So I'm not sure if it's going to fit. I might have to... assuming I'm going to end up sleeving this game, I might have to rip the insert out when I go to store the cards sleeved. But that's my observation on it. Odds are I'm probably wrong on that because the thing is, my spatial visualization has never been the strongest. I think I tried to supplement it in college, but it's never been the strongest in the world. It's fine for drive. I'm able to drive okay, but otherwise I've always had some issues with spatial visualization. But yeah, it looks like everything's fitting fine here when unsleeved. But again, once I start sleeving everything, that's making me a little bit nervous moving in that direction. So, glad to help where I can. And truth be told, as soon as you said that, I was like, wait a second, I should probably address that. Glad to go the extra mile. Like I said, it's not just a request for you. It's kind of something that made me go, wait a second, I should look into this because I'm probably going to want to sleeve this game. So that's actually a very good thing to know, that there's a pretty good chance I'm going to want to rip the insert out on this one. But it looks like everything will fit in there, and that's actually another point of concern I'm going to have. Because the insert, actually, I'll show you this. I'll pull this out again so I can show you what I'm worried about. So let me stick it back in the sleeve for a second. So you can see, actually it might be hard to see with a clear sleeve, but you can see that the card is mostly flush with the top of the sleeve, but there's a little bit of play. Actually, there's a little bit of extra space on the bottom of the sleeve. So once I put it back in there, actually it might work better if I pull this out to show you. So you can see in here how the top of the sleeved card is actually a little bit taller than the rest of the cards. Now, obviously, when they're all in sleeves, that's not going to be a problem. The problem is going to come in, though, when everything's sleeved and the top of the insert looks like it's pressing. It's probably hard to see, again, clear sleeve. But if you look at it, actually, as I'm pressing down on the unsleeved cards, there's actually a little bit of play in there. But once I press down on the sleeved card, it's almost flush with the top of the insert. So I'm gonna have to figure. So when I take a maintenance night to deal with this game, I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do as far as both sleeving these cards and what I want to do with storing it. Because odds are looking likely with this one that I'm not going to be able to sleeve them and keep the insert. But I do need to take English lessons at some point. So actually, I'm kind of glad you raised that question because it let me take a look at something and figure out this is going to be a problem. So now I'll put the sleeves back. Sometimes there's a radius at the bottom of the insert that prevents the card from seating completely on the bottom of the insert. Yeah, I've noticed that too, and that's why I'm not completely a fan of inserts. Speaking of inserts, let's pull this one out and see if there's anything underneath. We've got more silica gel, but that's going to go away as well. But that also will not solve the issue of. That won't solve the issue of the sleeved cards in the insert. It just confirms that there's nothing under the insert. Sometimes, with other campaign games, I've seen it happen. Actually, I think I've had to deal with it in Metal Gear Solid back when I was doing Metal Gear Mondays after my 1985 season replay, where sometimes with these campaign games, and I think Aeon's End Legacy did it as well, there's extra content under the insert. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the problem here, and I'm actually digging these painted minis. These look pretty darn cool. So definitely looking forward to getting Mage Knight on the table at some point. But as you can see, I have got 8 sheets of punch board that I'm going to have to go through to get that dealt with. And like I said at the top, I usually go through the rule book, but I'm going to make an exception in this case, and I'm not going to go through the rule book. Actually, I'm not going to go through the rule books. Mostly because there's 3 of them. But that is everything in another fairly heavy box for Mage Knight, the Ultimate Edition. This is a game, like I said before, that I'm fairly excited about. I've kind of tiptoed around it for a couple of years in the hobby, but I wanted to get some games. I wanted to see if I could find at least one game like one of the audiobook series I've been devouring whole on Audible. And this one came up as one of the recommendations for that, so I finally was like, alright, what the hell. Plus I had reward points from my local game store that was going to make it $60 off, make it cost me about $70 to get this. So, figured, yeah, I can't pass that up. But that's everything in the box for Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. One more game I want to get to unboxing on the channel, so stay tuned for that. And then later tonight, we'll be over at Yankee Stadium to continue the 2001 season replay and payoff pitch baseball. Stay tuned for that as well. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.